StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is we are into the next part of our ongoing series of the false beliefs that you have around money that are making and or keeping you broke. Now, before we get into this, let me remind you all, I send a text message out every single morning called the Daily Motivation that is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start the day. All you got to do is text me to get that message, to be in my text community, so you're getting that message every day. Text me at the number 305-384-6894, and every morning starting tomorrow when that Daily Motivation goes out, you and every other member of my text community shall be receiving that message straight to your phone. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all of my coaching. That's the place where you get access to all of my courses. You can join the university by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You'll also be getting a physical mailing, 2 physical mailings that I send out every single month. One of them is called the Black Book. The other is called the Bulletproof Bulletin. And I mean physical. I'm not talking about a link, not a PDF, not a text message, not a YouTube video. Physically to your physical mailbox. All right, wherever you get physical mail, I'm going to be sending something to your mailbox every single month when you're a member of the university. But you must go to workonyourgameuniversity.com so that you are connected and tapped in, and you'll be getting that every single day. Every single month, and you'll be a member of the university to where you have full access to all of the trainings that we have inside the university. The links and the number are down below in the description to this episode. So now, getting into the next part of this series here, the false beliefs that you have that are keeping you broke. We've already gone into the background of this several episodes back when we started this series, so I don't need to give you any background. We can just get right into the material. Let's start at number 13. False belief. Money is not that important. Now, when I say this is a false belief, I'm not telling you that you need to believe money to be important because I said it. I am calling this a false belief because I am psychoanalyzing that anybody who is walking around saying money is not that important, you are really just rationalizing and telling yourself it's not that important to make yourself feel better about the fact that these other false beliefs that we talked about, the first 12, are the very things that are keeping you from getting the kind of money or having the kind of money that you want. So instead of going to work on them, you just decided to take the easy way out by just saying, well, money's not that important, so it doesn't matter, I don't have any. All right, it's bullshit. That's not true. You know it's important because we all need money to live. We need money to take care of our basic needs. And in my experience, anytime somebody deems money to be not that important is a form of cognitive dissonance that we utilize to minimize the value of something that we've already decided that we can't get or will not ever have. Some of you may have heard of this being described as sour grapes. And the sour grapes, those of you who know where that comes from, there's an old fable that there was a wolf walking in the forest one day and he saw some grapes up on hanging from the branch of a tree and he wanted the grapes. He was really happy for the grapes and hungry, and the grapes looked tasty. So he was looking to get the grapes. So he jumped up and tried to grab the grapes, but they were a little bit too high. He couldn't reach it. So then he jumped again, tried to jump a little bit harder and higher, still couldn't reach it. And he tried and tried and tried. No matter how hard he tried and how high he jumped, the wolf was unable to reach the grapes. Finally, the wolf just said, you know what? Doesn't matter. Those grapes are sour anyway. And then he just walked off. And that's what many of you do in life. You try and try and try to achieve something, at least for a little while. Some of you try a little bit, some of you try a lot. And when you're unable to achieve it, despite your best efforts to that point, you decide, you know what, maybe that thing's not that great anyway. So you know what, I don't even want it in the first place. So this is a form of cognitive dissonance. We just make up a story that makes it okay that we didn't get the thing that we wanted, even though we know we want it. So we come up with a story that says we don't actually want it. This is the same thing that you do with people. This is the same thing you do in business. This is the same thing you do in opportunities. You come up with a story in your mind that makes it seem like the thing that you were trying to get 5 minutes ago ain't that good anyway, so it doesn't matter that you can get it. All right. I would suggest that you be a little bit more honest with yourself, actually a lot more honest with yourself as to why you didn't get the thing that you want, instead of saying, well, it was no good in the first place. Well, that guy, he wasn't shit anyway. That girl, she's a hoe anyway. No wonder I didn't go on a date with her. No, just admit, look, this is what I wanted. I didn't get it. Let me see what I can do to adjust myself so I can get a better outcome next time, or maybe a better outcome with the same situation. Maybe I can come back and get a better outcome with this situation. Don't lie to yourself and tell yourself that something's not that good, even though you know you wanted it, just to make yourself feel okay. Because every time you do that, you're basically reducing your possibilities, and people keep doing this, so you reduce yourself down to pretty much nothing. All right, and this is a form of cognitive dissonance when you're telling yourself that. It's not that you didn't actually want it. In other words, this is a coping mechanism. And I would bet that if this same person who says, hey, money isn't that important, if you woke up tomorrow with an additional $1 million in your bank account, whatever you have today plus $1 million, money will all of a sudden be important, wouldn't it? Otherwise, if that money is not important, if you still believe money to not be important, you wake up with an extra $1 million in your bank account tomorrow, I will give you my account and routing numbers, and you can send that entire $1 million to me. All right, since money is not important to you. All right, so I think money is important to everybody. All right, the first step in addressing, adjusting, or stepping up your game in any aspect of life is to be honest with yourself about where you're at and what you want from that aspect of your life. That's the first step. If you're out of shape and overweight, the first step to you addressing being out of shape and overweight is not to wag your finger at people for fat shaming you, whatever the hell that means. It's to say, you know what, I am fat. I am out of shape. I am not in the shape that I need to be in. I am overweight. I am 10 years and a couple Big Macs away from a heart attack. Let me do something about this situation. The first step is addressing where you are actually at. If you are not making the kind of money that you want to make, the first step is addressing the fact you're not making the money that you want to make. Looking at it square in the face and admitting to yourself that you're not where you want to be and something needs to change. When you admit that, then you are empowered to do something about it. If you won't admit something, then you're not empowered to change it. Anything that you will refuse to admit, you are not empowered to change, and therefore that thing will remain as it is or get worse. It's not going to get better by itself. So it is refreshing and freeing for all of us to just admit things to ourselves, even if being honest with yourself and admitting something to yourself means you got to have a tough conversation with yourself about what's real and what's not, or someone else has to have a tough conversation with you about what's real and what's not. This is one of the main things that happens in Work on Your Game University. All right. Many of you reach out to me and say, Dre, I need to get better at my discipline. I need to be more persistent. I need to be more consistent at what I'm doing. I need to get better at following through. I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. I hear that from people. I hear some form of one of those things that I just said every single day from people. Understand something. The reason that you need these things, the reason that you're coming up short in these areas, even though it's not a lack of knowledge, it's simply a lack of follow through, because you have conditioned yourself to make it. You're conditioning yourself to be okay with these things. That's the reason why these issues persist. And understand something. For most of you, you are not going to just will yourself into not being okay with them anymore. All right. In other words, thinking about them, talking about them, watching YouTube and listening to podcasts is not going to change that circumstance. You're going to have the same circumstance 5 years from now that you got now. Maybe at a higher level, but it's going to be the same circumstance. This is the reason why you need interventions. You need a force outside of yourself to come in and change the inertia of your situation. Many of you, actually all of us, live in a constant state of inertia. We have certain ways that we are, certain ways of being, certain ways of operating that are normal to us. And until or unless an outside force comes and changes the inertia, we stay in that space. We stay moving in the exact same direction, doing the exact same things all of our lives. This applies to everybody. Now, people are doing it at different levels, but we are all doing it. Being honest with yourself means having tough conversations with you about what's real and what's not. And that tough conversation can be seeded by another person. So understand, you go to a therapist, you hire a coach, they're going to have a tough conversation with you about what's real. And then you got to take whatever they said to you and you got to say it to you, because that's the only way you're actually going to change. You can hire all the therapists in the world and all the coaches in the world. Whatever they say to you, you have to accept it. And then you got to say it to yourself. That's when the change happens. And what the coach is doing for you or the therapist is doing for you is telling you the thing that you need to say to you. They're saying to you what you need to say to you that you've been unwilling to say to you. That's what their job is. And you got to be willing to accept it. You got to be mentally tough and disciplined enough to accept it and confident enough to know that you can do something with it. Many of you don't have the confidence to do something with what you know somebody else is going to say to you, so you avoid having it said to you in the first place so you can stay the same. That gives you an excuse. The tough conversations that you avoid. See, money, is there any of you ever saying that money is not that important to you? Okay. Any of you who believes money is not that important, I want you to write down, I want you to itemize this and come up with an exact dollar amount. How much do you need for food, clothing, and shelter? I need to know the exact dollar amount. And then every dollar that you have that is over that amount, over what you need for food, clothing, shelter, I want all of that sent to my bank account on a regular basis. So if what you need for food, clothing, shelter is $2,000 a month, if you got $2,500 in your account right now, you owe me $500. All right, send it to my account. I want the wire. Send me the confirmation of the wire transfer. So I'll have it in a couple of days. Otherwise, be honest with yourself about what money really means to you, your life, and your family, even if you don't have any. Because when you create that gap, that friction between where you are and where you want to be, that discomfort is often the catalyst that will move you to actually doing something, as opposed to you thinking about and talking about shit that you ain't doing, which is where you are now. Moving on to point number 14. We're talking the false beliefs that you have that are keeping you broke. Number 14, I'm not smart enough to understand finance. This is another false belief. And this one, hopefully, none of you adults who listen to this show are using this one. But I had to include it because there may be a few stragglers who do use this one. All right, this is another bullshit excuse, rationalization that you might hear from some 12-year-old in school. Some 12-year-old might be in class, not doing their schoolwork, not doing their homework, not performing academically. And you ask them, hey, why are you not doing your schoolwork? And they'll say something like, well, the other kids in class are smarter than me. Or these days you hear that they're changing the math. They're changing the way that math is taught in certain schools. I don't know if they're not doing this in every state, probably not here in Florida, but definitely probably out in California or New York. They're changing the way that math is taught and the grading of math classes because they say that math is somehow is rooted in some form of white supremacy and is not being taught in a way that minority students can understand and excel at it. This is garbage. That's bullshit. And all it's doing is setting low expectations for Black kids who are going to go out into the world fully unprepared, even worse, even less prepared than they are now to go places like college, where now you're not going to get in based on race. And then they're going to not be prepared to go to the professional world, even though the things that get taught in school, a lot of them we don't use anyway. But guess what? When you go to work at your job, it's a whole bunch of things you got to do at your job that don't matter either. And guess what? School is preparing you exactly for that life. What's exactly going to happen at your work. But at work, they're not going to change the standards just because you're Black. All right, this happening in schools, but maybe eventually it'll happen at work. But right now, it ain't happening at work. So they're setting these kids up for failure because they're allowing them to get away with these low expectations for themselves and these excuses. Oh, well, I don't understand math because it's not designed for people of my race. What the hell does your race have to do with your ability to fucking count or use a calculator or follow the quadratic formula? Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. That's the answer. But this is the excuses that are being given to lower people's expectations, make them dumber, make them less self-accountable, make them less, there's a term that I'm looking for that's escaping me right now, but making them less capable of handling their own business. And here's the bigger picture issue of all of this. The less capable you are of handling your own business, the less capable you will be of pushing back when people who are capable decide to impose things on you that don't quite make sense. All right, does that sound like anything that's happened over the last 2 or 3 years? See, the less capable people are, and unless you can think for yourself, and unless you have equipped yourself to think for yourself and act on your own volition, the easier it will be for the powers that be to push you around and basically control you by telling you some nonsense that doesn't even make any sense. And you won't be equipped to do anything back. You won't be equipped to push back against them because you've been conditioned to not think for yourself. You've been conditioned that anytime something is not working in your favor, there must be something wrong with it instead of there being something wrong with you. So we don't need to fix you. We need to fix the system. Oh, that's the issue. So then when the system comes around and says you need to do this, this, and this, now you don't have no choice but to listen to the system because the system's been dictating to you for the last 15 years. And now you're powerless to push back. And then when somebody does push back, oh, they're the conspiracy theorists. Oh, they're the dummy. Oh, they're the outlier. That's the person who has something wrong with them. They're the person who should be excommunicated from society. But you're the one who's doing all the right things. Oh, because the people in power told you. Let me not digress too far. Anyway, this is a bullshit excuse. I'm not smart enough that you will hear from some 12-year-old in school who excuses his lack of academic performance by claiming that the other students in the class are simply smarter than he is. All right, again, this is some juvenile nonsense that no self-respecting adult should ever allow to come through your lips. So any of you who consider yourself to be a self-respecting adult, all right, don't ever say anything like this, especially around me. All right, you come into work on your game university and say this, I'm going to kick you out of the university. All right, don't come here saying it's nonsense. This is for understanding finance or money or whatever words you want to use here, wealth, whatever. It's not about being smarter than other people. It's about you understanding some simple basics, having a structure that allows you to execute on those basics. That's it. Understanding simple basics and having a structure that allows you to execute on the basics that you now understand. So when I say, again, when I use the word finance, this does not mean you need to be some type of financial wizard or some kind of money manager or a hedge fund expert. I am none of those things. I mean, you simply doing things that allow you to consistently have more financial resources available for yourself and your family. That's it. It's not about you writing a book or giving a speech about finance, neither of which have I ever done, and I probably never will. There are people who will do that. There are people out there who do that for a living, and I know some of them. And listen, maybe they are smarter than you when it comes to finance. Perhaps they are smarter than you. That's okay if they're smarter than you. That has nothing to do with your ability to have money for yourself and your family. All right. Other people being smarter than you ain't got nothing to do with how much money you can have in your bank account and assets that you have available to take care of you and take care of your family. It has nothing to do with how smart you are compared to how smart somebody else is. All right. You don't get paid for being smart any goddamn way. All right. You get paid for producing results. All right. We're in a results-based business. This is not an intelligence-based business. I'm not saying intelligence doesn't help, but you don't get paid for being smart. Now, I know a whole lot of smart people who got really good grades in school who couldn't generate revenue if they wanted to. They generate revenue when they are allowed to. They can't generate revenue when they want to, even though they're relatively smart by normal societal standards. They're pretty smart. They got good grades in school, did all the right things, followed the system exactly to the letter, what the system told them to do. Might even be working in the system right now. They can't generate money like other people who dropped out. Is this true or not? Okay. Point number 15. Today we are talking false beliefs that you have in your head that are keeping you broke. Number 15, wealth is a matter of luck. It's not a matter of effort or strategy. Okay, this is another nonsense coping mechanism. It's another nonsense quote idea that many of you have learned. And guess who you learned this from? Let me tell you what it is again, so you can think about who taught you this. Who'd you hear this from? That wealth is a matter of luck. It is not a matter of effort or strategy. This rhymes with, it's not exactly what she said, but it rhymes with what my mom told me. I mentioned this a couple episodes ago. I said, are we Democrats or Republicans? This is when I was a kid. I was not at a voting age, but my parents voted all the time. She said Democrats. I said, why? She said, because Republicans only work for the rich people. And so I'm like, all right, I figured that being rich was a good thing, right? Because this is something that, if you grew up any way similar to how I grew up, you heard things like, we are not rich. So you asked for something that cost money and it was too much money. Someone admonished you by saying, hey, we as a family are not rich, or money doesn't grow on trees, or somebody would say, or you ask for something that costs money, does it look like I'm made of money? That's another one that I would hear. So all these things that just embedded in your brain that we, being whoever you are around, your family, did not have money, but rich meant you had money, right? So my mom was saying that the Republicans only work for the rich people. So I didn't say this, but now I'm thinking it, well, why don't we just become rich? All right, how do Republicans work for us? Right? Who do the Democrats work for? Poor people? Do they? I don't know. I've learned a lot about how the Democrats and Republicans work. I question that. So you tell me. Any of you who follows politics, you tell me. Do Democrats work for the poor people, or what are we? What were we considered? I don't think we were poor. We weren't rich. We weren't rich. My mom made that clear, but we were not poor. We were, what do you call it? What's the middle? The middle class? Yeah, lower middle class. But the middle class is disappearing, by the way. Any of you who didn't know, y'all should read up on that, because if you are in the middle class, you're about to get squeezed. You either need to move up, or you're going to be forcibly moved down. All right. Remember that I said that. Anyway, this bullshit coping mechanism that you learn from broke people around you who taught you to have the same broke mindset that they have. Okay, that wealth is a matter of luck. No, it is not. Wealth is not a matter of luck. It's not to say that there are not some wealthy people who did get lucky. Maybe they did the right things and they allowed luck to shine on them. And listen, there's some broke people who also have some luck too, bad luck. But in the aggregate, people who have what they want is not because of luck. It's because of strategy and execution and process and accountability and mindset. Same things we talk about in Work on Your Game University. And people who don't have what they want, guess what it is because of? A lack of execution, a lack of strategy, a lack of accountability, a lack of mindset, and a lack of process. All right. Success leaves clues. Guess what also leaves clues? Failure. Guess what also leaves clues? Mediocrity. All right, there are clues behind every outcome. So there are no, what's the word? Yeah, the word is escaping me. I'll come back to it in a second. You must distinguish this habit immediately of calling things luck when they don't work in your favor and sneering at someone else's success or your lack of success and saying, oh, it's just because of luck, or it's because of my gender or my sexual identity or my race or my nationality or the neighborhood that I'm from. All of this is nonsense, and they're all excuses. You don't call them excuses. You call them reasons. They're excuses. This is an emergency that you must extinguish this habit. Think of it like your house being on fire. You got to grab the fire extinguisher and put this fire out like now, or your whole house is going to burn down. First of all, let's remember what wealth is. Wealth is simply what other people want. Wealth is not an amount of money. Wealth is what other people want. Money is one of the things that people want, but are there things in your life you want right now that are not money? Of course there are. Are there things other people want that are not money? When you have something that other people want, you can exchange it for the things that you want. So you can exchange knowledge that other people want for money, what you want. That's wealth. Wealth is things that people want. So wealth and money are not the same. Some people, these often get used synonymously, but they are not the same. Wealth is on a higher level than money. Money is subservient to wealth. But if we are using wealth synonymously with money in this instance, let's just do that for the sake of conversation. It's still a nonsense, bullshit coping mechanism to say that wealth is a matter of luck. No, it's not a matter of luck. There are some people out there who did happen to get lucky, and and money came to them. For example, somebody who hits the lottery, all right, they got lucky. But there are many more people who have money simply because they've done smart things based around a simple structure for making money. So take any dollar amount that you consider to be a lot of money, and if you found 100 people who had that amount, I guarantee you the majority of them, more than the majority, I would bet at least 90% of them, they got their money because there was some conscious intention behind how they got it. They didn't just luck into it. They didn't just find a bag of money on the side of the road at 3 a.m. one day driving on the highway. All right, that didn't happen. There was a plan behind it. And people who don't have it, there was a lack of plan behind theirs. All right. There are no coincidences here. I think the saying is there are no conspiracies, but there are also no coincidences, something like that. I might be butchering that saying, but these are not coincidences. They happen for a reason. All right, there's a reason behind everything. All right, everybody got it? Nothing's just accidental. So people who have money, whatever having money means, is because they've done smart things based around a simple structure for having that money. And none of these things are unavailable to you. So there's nothing stopping you from doing the same things that others have done to make money. And there are so many different ways to generate money. You have no excuses. Not like you only got one option. Most important part of this is not the actual framework of how to do it, but first removing the mental trash of thinking that money has anything to do with luck. You got to get that out of your head first before we do anything else. Because if you think the whole thing is based on luck, you're not going to do the work. While what many of you are needing is not some magic formula for making money. And some of you are so fucking lazy that even if you were given it, you still wouldn't execute. But to take out the garbage that you have in your mind, that you have had in your mind your whole adult life about money, that is the real thing that is holding you back. Many of you are held back by just mental garbage. Not being lazy. Some of you are lazy, but that's not the real thing holding you back. It's the mental garbage holding you back. The thoughts that you have that are not true, the false beliefs that are not actually accurate, and you got to create the space to let some useful stuff in there, in between those ears of yours. But right now, nothing can get in because the trash is in the way. You're hoarding the garbage. You ever seen that TV show Hoarders? I don't know if that show still comes out. And did I ever watch the show? I think I watched it a couple of times. One of those TV show Hoarders, it'd be where these people would just keep stuff in their house. They would never throw anything away because and it wasn't like some practical little funny thing that they're holding on to stuff, because I've held on to stuff that I eventually had to get rid of. Not that kind of hoarding. It was like where it became like a psychological issue because their house was like overrun with stuff. I remember one of my friends growing up on the street that I grew up on, his house was so junky. It was him, he had a younger sister, and they lived with their mother. And they had an older brother, and he had an older brother. So it was an older brother, younger brother, who was my friend, and he had a younger sister and their mom. They had so much junk in their house that if you walked into their home in the living room, you could not see the carpet because there was so much junk in the house. That's kind of like the TV show Hoarders was. Now, I don't consider them to be hoarders. I don't think they were hoarders. But I remember one time I went to their house and you could actually see the carpet. The carpet was brown. I didn't know what color the carpet was. It was a brown, light brown carpet. And I said, damn, what happened to your house? And my friend, he said, spring cleaning. They decided to clean up the house. What a novel idea. But anyway, I'm not going to say this friend's name, but if he's listening, he knows who he is. But anyway, the whole point is many of you are hoarding so much mental garbage in your mind that we can't see the carpet. We don't know what color the carpet is because you got all this garbage in your home. Nothing can get in because we can't see what the hell is going on. You got to get the garbage out. And as soon as we get the garbage out, now you have a space to put some actual useful stuff in. In. Now, with all that said, let's recap today's class, which is next part in our series of false beliefs that you have accepted about money that are keeping you broke. Number 13, money is not that important. And we all need money to live, food, clothing, and shelter. Any of you thinks money is not that important? I want you to calculate how much it takes to pay for your food, clothing, shelter, and all the excess now automatically goes to me. Number 14, I'm not smart enough to understand finance. All right, this is some bullshit 12-year-old logic that anytime you're not achieving an outcome, you make some excuse about some immutable characteristic that is somehow crippling you and keeping you from getting to an outcome. All right, you're too old for that nonsense. Stop that shit. Number 15, wealth is a matter of luck, not effort or strategy. This is another bullshit coping mechanism that many of you have been taught by losers and broke people around you. And yes, I'm talking about your family members. All right, many of them are losers and broke people. Just admit it. And sooner you can admit it, the sooner you can get from under their influence. All right. So no, this is not what wealth is. Wealth is a matter of you understanding, first of all, what wealth actually means, which is not money. And then you following the strategies and executing on the efforts that will help you acquire it and then use it to get what you want in your life. Anybody can do this if you would actually use your damn brain and put it to work instead of allowing it to idly sit by and do nothing. All of that said, text me. Tell me the best point you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University. That is where you get directly coached by me. That's where you get direct access to all of my training programs, all of my courses. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all